In this video, we're going to go through how to edit themes and how to actually change some of the colors and styles in our web page. In order to do that, we're going to click on this gear. We're going to go to Manage Site. That takes us here. If we want to get rid of the name or change the name, we can change the name here. If we don't want the name to show up at all, we can click that box and it won't show up at all. I suggest having your site name on there where it at least shows up on every page, because it offers a little bit more consistency in your web page. Where we're going to want to go, though, to change colors and themes is actually down here where it makes the most sense: themes, colors, and fonts. So we'll click on that. It opens up these basic things. And it might seem overwhelming at first, but it gives us the option here if we want to change themes. So we have all these different themes that we can choose from. So let's say I want to go down here and see what mint chip looks like. That's exactly the way it looks whenever I add that in. You actually see this preview window. If you don't like that, then you can change it up. Let's say I want to see what patchwork looks like. I can change it to that. And once I find something I like, I can just leave it. It'll be fine. Just make sure you hit save. Now let's go into the entire page. So if we want the background to be that theme, we need to leave that checked. If we want to hit none, we can hit none and it'll take it away. But I would suggest keeping a simple theme, nothing very distracting, something that's simple and looks very appealing when you click on it. Now, this text part, if we want the text to be a certain color other than what the theme allows, we can change it here. So I'm not going to go through and change much, because most of the time you want it to be as simple as possible and match the theme. The one thing you might want to change is the link color. It gives you that option. Let's say I want all my links to show up as this bright blue. But then after they're visited, I want them to show up as this black. Now, that means that anytime there's a link, it'll show up as this bright blue before it's visited, and then after somebody clicks on it, it will turn that black color. That just makes things a little bit easier whenever somebody's looking at your page to figure out what they've seen, what they haven't seen. It draws more attention to your links too. Now, since I'm done with that, I'm going to hit save. And you don't have to do this each time you change, but I would rather do it now instead of forget. Now, the site header. Let's say I want my SCS Test 2 to be bigger than that, because it isn't very big right now. I can hit title. And I can go down here and I can change the color if I wanted to. I kind of like it that black color. It stands out. And I can change it to whatever size font I want. Let's say I want it to be a 24. It goes all the way up to 36, but sometimes the 36 is too big. So I'm going to go back down to a 24. And I'm going to hit save again. Like I said before, you don't have to hit save after each time, but I would rather hit save now than lose work because my computer crashes or I accidentally close out the window. So now I can look at content area. That would be that main page that you could edit where you see my name, information. That's what we're talking about. I wouldn't change too much in here just because it really kind of is easier to do it whenever you hit that edit pencil and go in there and change these things. But the one thing you really can't do, let's say the page title. I want it to be bigger than what it is now when it shows up. I can actually do that here. So if I want it to be an 18-point font, it'll automatically adjust that for each page. So I'm going to hit save again just in case. And now here's where we can add in some pretty neat navigation tools. The horizontal navigation. That allows us to change these tabs so that the ones that we're on will show up a little bit more. I kind of like to do an opposite type color scheme because it makes it a little bit easier to navigate. So let's just look at the text. Let's say instead of being black, I want them to stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to change them to something that still blends well with the web page, this blue. And I think the 10-point font is too small, so I'm going to increase that to 12-point font. Now that's good, but then the hover color. This is kind of, if you're hovering over it, you can change the color. I wouldn't change it over too much. It kind of is a little bit distracting when you're hovering over. But here's this next thing, selected text. The page that I'm on, it's going to make it easier instead of it being just bold. Let's say we change the color of it to where it will be the opposite of all the other tabs. So the text color I'm going to make white, and you see it disappears a little bit. But then this background color, I'm going to change it to this darker blue like all the other tabs have as their font. That way that tab really stands out and you can tell exactly which one you're on. I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to go back to my web page so I can preview everything that we've done. Now, if I want to get to science, it will automatically pull it in there. It readjusts everything. And if you're not happy with it, remember, go to the gear and hit manage site, and it takes you right back to this place where we can change themes and colors. But this is going to be your central place for doing that. And just to get back to our page, we just click there. Now, one thing you're going to notice with this web page, the way it's set up, there's one thing that's off. When we took out the sidebar, the proximity of the picture, the image, and my information really doesn't make any sense. It seems too disconnected when you're looking at it. And really it's a visual thing. So I'm going to go in here and edit this page. Now, if I want to make this one a little bit closer, I'd kind of put this one off to the side. I can align that to the left side instead of being centered and hit save, and it kind of brings it more back into frame. If we want to micro adjust this left side, I can. But for this, let me show you an example. Let's say I go in here and I want to make that center. It's going to make everything center, which will be fine. But some people, it's just a preference that they don't necessarily like having words centered. They want it all on one side. But pay attention to those 4 design principles. We need the contrast to be able to stand out. If you pick a yellow color font, it's not going to stand out. It needs to stand out. We need to have a focal point. So like my name needs to be bold or bigger so that I can actually see it. And then having a picture in there that's professional but not distracting is also a good idea. And then finally, pay attention to proximity. Things that are separated too far apart really visually don't make sense and just don't seem to be connected. There are more help pages in the reading. So if you didn't find your answer here, look in that reading. It really does walk you through a lot of the different aspects. And then if you still have any questions, you can go to that questions link in the module.